Hello again. I am your AI co-host, and welcome to 3.8. 3.8 is a podcast focused on the process of doing and the process of novel invention, all from the foundation of creativity. Each month will bring you no more than 5 episodes through the lens of art, science, and/or technology. You can support this podcast at patreon.com/38 or at ko-fi.com/38. Today, we're trying something a bit different. We're releasing Andrew and Nathan's fortnightly meeting they have. They discuss what they're thinking about and what they're working on. This isn't as much of an episode as much as something we hope you find interesting or inspiring. Drop us a rating or comment on your favorite podcast listener and let us know. And now, the humans.
All right, it's already been 2 weeks somehow, and we're doing our fortnightly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right, but yeah, calling out the 2 weeks and realizing what has happened, a lot of stuff, but nothing, not the stuff that I wanted to get done.
Where's my Clockwork Orange helmet?
So to clarify, it's not going to be a helmet. It's more of a headband.
So it's an evolution of the helmet. Do I need to be strapped to a chair to use it too?
No, I mean, unless you want it to be. It's totally up to you. I don't judge here.
Yeah, how have you been able to make any progress? I think
I have not. Yeah. So I mean, as as I was prepping for this discussion, I was actually thinking, what do I have to talk about? And then the big thing that came to me. Have you heard about the allegory of the jar and the rocks? So
probably. I can't place it.
I'm sure there are tons of variations of this, but effectively, there's a professor who's trying to teach his students about the value of time management. And then he has a jar and then some rocks. And then he puts the rocks in the jar. He's, class, is this jar full? And then the class, yeah, it's full. And then he breaks out like a bowl of pebbles. And then obviously he can throw some pebbles in there. He's like, how about now? Is the jar full?
Yep.
And then I was like, yeah, the jar's full. And then he gets like water. And he
sand, rock.
And it's
yeah.
Right. So the idea is all the small things can fit into the big things, right? So you just got to make sure the big things are what goes in first.
Yeah.
If you do it the other way around, like you fill it with water, you won't have place to put the pebbles and the large rocks, right? So I was starting to think, this discussion with me building this Clockwork Orange helmet, quote unquote.
Trademark.
For me, that feels like a rock because it's something I've thought about for a long time and I've wanted to do it. But I think the water and the pebbles are overflowing right now. So the jar of my life is filled with some of the smaller things. But there are things that I think need to be done anyway. And there's something that I wanted to actually talk to you about was timescales and how people are looking at different timescales. Yeah. So for me, I rationalize the pebbles and the water because in the long term they pay off and you get them done now and they're gone. But you can obviously develop a habit of doing that over and over again, and then you don't realize that your rocks have never been.
It's called procrastination. I excel at that.
Yeah. All that to say is I haven't made too much progress. Whatever I need to get done is still what I need to get done. And weirdly enough, in the U.S. here, it's a holiday, long weekend coming up. And we were talking a little bit before this, and I just thought it was funny that I think both you and I were looking to the long weekend as, yes, I get to do some work.
Yeah, 100%. I guess before I'll jump into mine, but on the timescale thing, the best advice I've been ever given for estimation is from a buddy of mine, Cameron, and shout out if you're listening. If you're not listening, I'm going to shame you later. But he's an engineer, and we were talking about how hard it is to estimate work just in general, and like how do you work with teams as a product manager. It's really important to know when stuff is done so you can operationalize the rest of the company to do all of the product release or the feature release and the marketing and like all this other shit, training, and then obviously on the engineering development side, getting the thing working is always harder than it is. It never goes according to plan. Never once have I ever been given an estimate from anybody that's ever been close. And that's okay, because I think a lot of times, like you were talking, like conceptually, it's just a rock. And then you dig a little bit and you're like, it's just a bigger rock. And then you dig a little bit more and you're like, God damn it, it's a boulder. Right? And you're like, can't use the dynamite here. So we're just going to have to literally chip away at it until it fits. Right. And I think like when it comes to estimating, this is Cameron's point, and I very much agree with it. Humans are just really bad at it. And anyone who thinks they're really good at it just doesn't understand how bad they are. And when it comes to development and cycles and any sort of groups of people, let alone yourself, it's impossible to do. And his guidance, which I still try to practice, is that I guess maybe just a little bit of context for folks. So when you're trying to manage work as a product manager in a development context, there's all sorts of strategies. They're all frankly bullshit because, again, people can't estimate. And so there's t-shirt sizing, which is an abstract idea of, small, medium, large going to take longer than a small. There's the story point ideas where you're trying to give more fidelity to the business people who have no idea what the fuck you're trying to do and no idea why trying to give them a higher fidelity measurement is just like the antithesis of what they're actually trying to accomplish. And so the approach I usually take is to give really vague timelines, usually a quarter of, I think we can have this feature with these attributes done. And so a lot of times, stuff will get cut or you'll add on stuff. Very seldomly do you actually get more stuff than you plan. And I'm very transparent and clear with, this is what we're planning on doing. It will change. It will be different. And I will let you know as soon as it becomes different so that we can get ahead of whatever that is. But this is our goal. It's like kind of best case scenario is almost the way. And that really pisses a lot of people in business off because they don't get it. But I don't know how else to do it accurately. Because then you start arguing about story points and what is 3 versus a 2 or what is a large versus a medium. You have all these debates. You spend all this time, again, trying to do something that humans are just really bad at. So Cameron's advice, long story, is that you estimate something that you can get done in like a work day. Just as an engineer, I have 8 hours of productivity theoretically. What can I get done? That's my story point, right? That's what I'm trying to do. If you get it done, congrats. If you get it done early, congrats. You could do more stuff or you're done or whatever for the day. But what tends to happen is you don't get it done and then you chip it back more. What can I get done in the next day? And, you do like a 3-week cycle for development because typically in any given work week, you probably have 3 real days of productivity. And so that's the strategy roughly. I mean, I should probably just have him on to give his own strikes. It's much more articulate than that. And he talks through a lot more of the why, but that's the Andrew parroting of the conversation we had. And I love it because and I use it still all the time where I have my pick 3 list of here's the 3 most important things I'm trying to get done today. And I have a list of, a million things in the world. And at that list, I procrastinate on that list and things just keep getting pushed down. And then I'll be looking at it and be like, oh no, that's actually something I need to do. So it goes to the top and then I try to get 3 things done because I found that I can typically get 1 to 2 things done in a day in Andrew sizing land. And even so, I have my own company and even something like, filing a business registration. Oh, that should only take, 20 minutes and it takes 4 hours for some reason. Yeah. Right. So and then if I get stuff done, great, I'm done or I do more or I take a break or whatever. And I think that's the only way I've found to accomplish it. I do find that it makes it a little bit too present of moment. So it's sometimes hard to see. Sometimes you spend a week breaking down boulders into smaller boulders and then you finally get pebbles and you're just like, all I've been doing is like truncating the work and you lose sight of you still wouldn't have gotten the original boulder done, but you've made it to the point where you now understand the complexity of the problems or the categories that you need to deal with and you can choose how to spend time on them or not. So that's the only advice I have and it's still imperfect.
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting thing or the interesting perspective or the situation that makes it different is when certain things are out of your control. A very concrete example, if I moved here to Puerto Rico and there are a few things that I need to file or get moving and I have a deadline, but then once I submit the paperwork or whatever, they take the time. So like those are the things that build up in the long term. Okay, well, I need to do this anyway. Let me get this done now. But once you submit that or you get the ball rolling, you have no idea when it's going to come rolling.
It's like life dependency hell.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I lament about this all the time. Like business filing is a great example. I just got a tax filing in the mail today saying I didn't pay my taxes. We have city taxes here in Portlandia, but I was like, no, I definitely did. And I can show you the information I sent to you and the IRS. But again, it's like now something I have to deal with and it blows up what I was planning to do today.
Yeah, exactly.
So and again, like the estimation thing, it's almost impossible to estimate accurately already. And then all of these other externalities happen that you can never plan for. And you can always try to pad a little bit of time and energy, but you never really know. And so again, my task list strategy is, okay, well, this goes to the top of the list. It's, here are the 3 things I'm going to try to do. This is number 1. And then I go through it. But did you make progress on anything other than the helmet?
Yes. A lot of other weird things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm writing a grant application for a software development job.
Nice.
Got roped into it. It was one of those where it's like, you know what, you can put me down on paper, and then all of a sudden I'm leading the thing. So that
sounds oddly academic.
And I stupidly cut off a chunk of my finger, so I've been dealing with.
How did you do that?
The mandolin, of course, and it's not too bad. It's more of it's my dominant hand and it's my thumb, and I'm an engineer.
It's just a flesh wound
program. Yeah, it is just a flesh wound. Honestly, it is. It's now dealing with that, and I've been trying to finish up my move. Yeah. So just things timeline-wise come to the same point for some weird reason. Yep. So changing the license, getting an address, all of things that should be easy to do are not so easy here in Puerto Rico.
They're not easy anywhere, man. I moved to the place I'm at now 5-6 months ago, and I still have a couple boxes that I keep looking at, and every day I'm like, I need to go through them and just either get rid of this stuff or put it out. And then a bunch of other stuff happens and it just sits there, and today I was going to do it, and now I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll do it later. That's a secret, I think, of mine, of like, procrastination's really bad when you procrastinate like indiscriminately, but procrastination is really good if you can have a good method to understand what does need your attention. And so like with my app is a great example. There was a bunch of problems I was having, and I was just procrastinating them, trying to do other stuff or trying to build other features or whatever. And then those problems get magically solved by the community, or somebody does an update and it provides a functionality that's close enough. So I think a lot of people get into the trap, though, if they're just like, I'm just lazy and I just don't want to do it, so I'm not going to do it. And that's procrastination, and it's bad. But if you have focus and you procrastinate on the things that aren't necessarily as important, however you deem that, it's actually, I think, a really great superpower. A lot of people that I observe that don't do that are the people who are always busy all the time, and I don't know why I'm so busy. Well, you're trying to do too much. Well, I want to do it all. Okay, great. Well, what's the most important thing? Do it, right? It sounds really simple, but I think it's really easy to not hold yourself accountable, or to be so overwhelmed with stuff where you don't even realize it. And then you have to like come back out and say, oh shit, I'm overwhelmed. How do I get out of it? Well, here's the strategy that I use. And I don't know, this isn't some self-help podcast or whatever, but like I struggle, especially and I think we talked about this before too, but as a product person, you have to be focused all the time. Everything's always on fire. Everything's always changing. And I thought I was really good at managing that, and I started a company. Oops. Like, I'm so much better at it now than I ever have been. And it's such a weird feeling to me to make conscious decisions of, this is bad. I know it's bad, but it's better than not being done. And I'm willing to take that trade-off.
Lesser of evils approach.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's funny, I founded a company. I had a workshop I sat in on this week about careers and finding your next passion, that kind of stuff. And I realized that I'm a third-time founder. I founded 3 companies in my life, and I obviously I knew that, but without doing the career exercise that I went through, I hadn't rationalized it. I was like, oh yeah, I've done this 3 times. So I'm either failing miserably as a repeat founder, or I'm now a serial founder. So I don't know how to spin it.
Serial founder sounds nicer, but I think that's one of the misconceptions about entrepreneurship too. Is that obviously you have survivorship bias, where you see someone's success and you're like, oh wow, look, you don't see all the failures that they had, right? And there are statistics out there. I don't know how accurate they are, but it's something like, it takes 7 years to become revenue generating. For
most businesses or most industries, like profitability or even just survivability, like a lot of companies would become profitable very quickly, and then the market collapses, or they get a competitor, or like whatever. I'd say my first 2 companies were spun down intentionally. So I don't know if that's a failure, like the idea of a permanent company and that's the only thing I do forever. It's not something I really subscribe to either, but yeah, so I don't know, like it's weird. But yeah, third.
We could turn this into a self-help session.
I know, right?
And we could dig deep into why you shut them down intentionally.
Well, I know exactly why. Like,
Okay.
The one just moved on industries and, time and place kind of thing. The second one was more professional service related, and I was starting to dabble in custom development and like software development for hire, and it's a shitty industry to be in. And it wasn't my passion. COVID happened. There's a lot of, it was working, but it was also one of those things where I think I realized I wasn't interested enough into making it bigger or better or grow it, or I don't know what the actual like thought would be, but.
But you got into it for a reason, right?
Yeah, I came out of professional services, so it was easy to do. I was doing small business consulting essentially, which is also a hard market just because no one ever has any money and they don't want to pay you, but they want the moon. Yeah. And so there's those problems with whatever, like I had some good, clients or whatever, but it's also just, I think the lack of ownership is what got to me too. It's you're building all this stuff for other people, but it's their.
Yeah. It's always, one of the big criticisms of consulting. You don't feel ownership.
Yeah. And it's a tough, even like the top, 3 consultancies are laying off people all the time because it's just a tough market. But anyway, yeah.
What have you been
I got to the App Store, Apple App Store, Tim Apple and I.
Yeah.
We're not on speaking terms, but they accepted me.
Congrats. Tim Applesauce.
Yeah. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I guess for folks, that's a reference to the beta releases that I release on a product called Test Flight for people who don't. When the app isn't in the App Store, you can release to people through basically a separate App Store. And I was getting pretty cheeky with my release notes because I was very mad that Apple kept coming up with really stupid shit for me to do. I don't know if we talked about this last time on record or not, but I remember telling a bunch of people, like this, the Apple kept quoting me this fucking paragraph every time I was like, hey, I think I fixed it. They're like, this paragraph, you have to do this thing. This is insane. This is a 5-minute conversation. Turns out it was a 5-minute conversation, right? At some point, their process triggered, hey, would you like us to call you? I'm like, yes, please. And I talked to the guy, Dylan, great guy. He's like, yep, totally get you. We had literally a 2-minute conversation. He's okay, here's what I think what you need to do. Oh, yep, that's what you need to do. Do this thing, resubmit, done. And, it took, probably an hour or something to make the changes. A couple hours later, it was done. And I'm in. And I told him straight up, I was like, I've been doing this for 3 weeks. I knew this was a problem. How do I get in contact with you? Their process is very like non-transparent in that regard. And
it's probably intentionally, right?
This is the part of customer service I hate though. It's yes, it's hard to understand that it's more expensive to talk to humans, whatever. But we went back and forth for 3 weeks, and the support rep that I was working with, we weren't working. The support rep who was quoting me the fucking paragraph was quoting me the paragraph over and over again. Fuck that, right? That's not working. Like, any manager should have been able to flag that and been like, why isn't this moved anywhere? Oh, we were quoting him the same thing. And please tell us what this is. I don't understand. I've tried these things. What can I do differently? Oh, here's the paragraph.
It sounds like you were dealing with an LLM that just
basically
grounded in its own documentation.
So anyway, I win. You can get Text My Cast on the App Store. Maybe I'll put it in the show notes. I don't know if I care that much. It's a minimal viable product, and there's a lot more features that are planned coming soon, but it's really just a way to get it out to people and hopefully start getting users. And there's a subscription you can subscribe to, and I'm hoping to leverage that to help fund, continual development.
Yeah. So the next thing you're going for is Google Play Store, right?
Yeah. I am like 80% done with the submission. Like, I have all this shit set up allegedly. The builds are working now. I got the builds to auto upload or whatever. I just need to finish some paperwork basically, and it's one of those things I just keep pushing. And then I have to fix, there's some of the payment stuff is like specifically tuned to Apple, so I need to like Googleify it, which should hopefully be straightforward, but again, it's just I gotta sit down and do it. But yeah, I'm hoping by, obviously next time we chat that'll be done, but I'm hoping like maybe early next week. I'm also like a little hesitant because it now is a whole nother world that I have to deal with. But it's also, if it's not available for people to use, they won't use it. So it's this double-edged sword of, I would much rather have it available and slow down my development a little bit more to try to get customers or understand how people are using it than to try to continue to work in this like vacuum where I'm just telling people how it works or hypotheticals and that kind of shit. So
yeah, no, I think that aligns very much with, I've known you for a while, and that stuff that we talk about is the user feedback and not building things in your own
Yeah.
head.
Yep. And so,
makes sense.
that I got a Google startup grant too. That was fun. Unexpected.
Yeah. Did you ever find out what the value was?
Yeah, it's Google Bucks.
You just said, whatever. What's the value? $0. It's
Google.
Google
Yeah.
dollars.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's all credits for Google services and shit, which is nice. I mean, I don't want to shit on it because it's money that I don't have to spend. But it's not like I get a bunch of cash that I can just go spend on what I want. Yeah.
It's also not like you know how much you need to spend.
Well, and that's so they give you a credit dollar amount, and then they also, as part of the program, you qualify for other like programs essentially. Like once you're in, and then so there's all sorts of other. I'm like exploring some of them still too to try to understand if I qualify or if it's stuff I want and that kind of stuff. So it's like a generic dollar amount, and then all these other doors open up that may or may not be valuable or may not provide more credit and all that kind of stuff. And then it is a tiered system, so I'm in the lowest tier of like friends and family. They go by seed rounds effectively, so it's like friends and family self-funded seed round, and then I think they have a pre-C, pre-series A. It's like angel maybe, or maybe they just jump to series A. So I'm not taking VC, so I'm not really sure how that's going to progress, but
I think that's their t-shirt size.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I think too, I'm using their platform for stuff. That was pretty obvious, which is probably why I got accepted. As I go forward, I probably use more. So I think there's a case there to be shown that obviously as I grow, it's more valuable to them, which is the whole point of this. But yeah, and there's some other stuff kicking around for accelerator type programs. I don't really want to do an accelerator, but there's a lot of programs. Oregon Entrepreneurs Network in Oregon here puts on a thing for Oregon companies that are doing software stuff, also food and beverage and some other things, bioscience. And they have a lot of programs for, how to do general startup-y stuff. A lot of this stuff, again, a third-time founder, as I found out yesterday, I've done and know, but it's also like stuff changes, or for me, it's more about getting a network of people who are also trying to build companies to commiserate with, frankly, because I don't expect help from anyone, but it's also, it's like trying to tell people what you do who have a 9-to-5 and have never worked at a startup or tried to build a company. They just have no fucking idea. It's so different. It's not more hard or harder or more challenging. I think it's just different. It's a very different kind of job, different. Right?
I think one can argue it is more difficult.
I think it's more difficult than being told what to do or having the thing I'm encountering the most right now is not having a team of people. Like I have people who are helping me. System. I don't have any employees yet. I'm working through some of that idea, but yeah, I'm still trying to get an advisory board together. As you know, I think I have it. Avengers assembled. We just need to set a date. Nice. I don't think I told you that yet, but yeah. We're close.
No, you did. Yeah. I think you were targeting September. October,
that's probably what I said. That sounds like something I would say. Kick it further down the road. But and I'm going to be traveling through September too. So, but yeah, and I think that's important for a few reasons, especially if you're a solo founder out there, or, big borrowing and stealing 100%. People's time. Getting other people that you can trust to tell you if stuff doesn't make sense, or even just be thought partners to say, have you considered this? Why are you doing that?
And on the flip side, as a solo founder, trying to explain what you have in your head to other people is also a skill you need to build. And having a board is something that helps you practice.
And I won't reveal my board members today. Just tune in next time. I also have to check with everyone to make sure they even want to be publicly shamed. But for me too, it's people who provide insight into things that I'm either weak on or want perspective on, right? So it's like the folks that'll make this up are people who are, high-level operators or in technology. I also have a couple people who explicitly aren't in technology, because I think every tech company needs quote-unquote normal people.
You're fulfilling your diversity.
And they know who they are, and I'm sure they're probably laughing. Like they're both the two people. Well, most people actually aren't in tech on the board, but they have really good skills, and I know I can trust them to give me advice or tell me that's dumb or it doesn't make sense or give me critical feedback. And I think it's even more important as someone doing AI shit to have people who are like, "That what the fuck did you just say?" Or why would you do
yeah.
that? Or how is that going to be
yeah.
safe? Or how are you not going to corrupt the youth? Those kind of questions don't enter in a lot of the minds of tech people, because we're like, oh, that's really cool, and it could do this. And all of a sudden, we created some
guilty
Instagram. Fuck you, Instagram. Fuck you. Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, for making Llama 3.1 publicly available and open source, but fuck everything else in your company.
Yeah.
Great. Now I'm going to have to censor that. Fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg. Anyway. Yeah. So for next time, Google Play Store, hopefully the search stuff in my app is coming. That's quasi-public. I'm hoping to talk about the first iteration of that. It's going to be tight. I have a lot of stuff moving, but it needs to happen.
It's exciting.
How about you? What are you going to give me the band mask?
Whatever I fail to deliver this time. I think once I have more time this weekend again, right? It's looking forward to having that time.
Yeah, I'm recording a podcast on Monday, I guess, so I'll have more podcasts out. It's a holiday. What's a holiday?
Yeah, it's just another day where people don't want to work.
Yeah, a reason for me not to do anything in public, because everybody's off and doing things in public, so I'll just work, and then when they're working, I'll go do things in public while they're at work.
I was gonna say it's probably problematic that I think the same way.
Yeah. Well, happy Friday, we made it.
Yeah, it's not fully over yet. Still got some deadlines.
Oh, I've made it this far. I don't intend to give up. I want to make it to next Friday at least. And then we'll see. Maybe I'll give up next Friday.
Okay.
All right, man. Take care.
Okay.
You can find us at 38.com. It's like the word create, but with a 3 instead of the C. As always, we encourage you to listen, watch, do. We'll see you next time. You can support this podcast at patreon.com/38 or at ko-fi.com/38. Thanks for listening.